Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy to have so many friendly faces out there. I will say I was going to make excuses why I was late, but my excuse is I was late. I want to call the meeting to order, and I'd like to call on our committee chair to convene their individual committees and for the purpose of approving their minutes. Let me begin with Trustee Bob Jones.
Okay, Faye, would you call the roll?
Trustee Jones?
Here.
Trustee Terry?
Here.
Trustee Huff?
Here.
All present.
Thank you. You've seen the minutes of our meeting of August the 29th and our agenda for August for that same meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Motion to Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, then I'll adjourn this meeting of the Academic Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. I'd like to call on Garrett Walton to present the Audit and Operations Committee in the absence of our committee chair, Susan O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll call the meeting to order. And Dr. Brown, could you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Trustee O'Connor? Trustee Dana?
Here.
Trustee Walton?
Present.
Two present.
We've had an opportunity to review the minutes.
Yes.
And if there's not any questions, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting as approved.
Move to approve.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Now I'll call on Trustee Patel to convene the Student Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. I'll call the meeting to order. Dr. Brown, can you please call a roll call?
Trustee Patel?
Here.
Trustee Hill?
Here.
Trustee May? Two present.
Thank you. You've all been given an opportunity to look at the minutes from the August 29th meeting. Do we have any questions or concerns? No? Can I get a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Okay. Can I get a second?
That would be you.
Mr. May?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. This meeting is adjourned, Mr. Chair.
I don't know what happened to Trustee O'Sullivan. I
He's
saw
right
him when
next
I
to you.
walked in the door. See? Oh, there he is. He's on the wrong side. Call on Trustee O'Sullivan for the Finance Committee.
Louis, I'll make a bigger splash next time I sit down. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Dr. Brown, will you please call the roll?
Trustee O'Sullivan?
Here.
Trustee Cleveland?
Here.
Trustee Lewis?
Here.
All present.
You've been given an opportunity to review the minutes from our prior meeting. If there's no change or corrections to those minutes, may I have a motion for approval of the August 29th, 2013 minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries and our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the Executive Committee meeting, and I'd like to call on Kim Brown to call the roll.
Chairman Bear?
Here.
Trustee O'Sullivan?
Here.
Trustee Jones?
Here.
Trustee O'Connor? Trustee Patel?
Here.
Trustee Cleveland?
Here.
Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, thank you very much. I'd now like to call the full board meeting to order. Anyone who might be joining by conference, please identify yourself.
Tina Terry.
Tim Brown, would you call the roll, please?
Chairman Bear,
Here.
Trustee Cleveland,
Here.
Trustee Dana,
Here.
Trustee Hill,
Here.
Trustee Huff,
Here.
Trustee Jones, Trustee Jones,
Here.
Trustee Lewis,
Here.
Trustee May,
Here.
Trustee O'Connor, Trustee O'Sullivan,
Here.
Trustee Patel,
Here.
Trustee Terry,
Here.
Trustee Walton.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I want to welcome everybody here. As you may have noticed, our president, Judy Benz, is absent. We had a discussion the other day. Her brother is confined to Chance Hospital, and his wife was there alone with him this week, and Judy was very concerned about it, and so I told her that if she needed to, she could go and miss this meeting today. So Dr. Martha Saunders is filling in for our provost, and we will proceed. I'd like to begin the meeting by welcoming Dr. Brendan Kelly. Where's Brendan? There you are. Brendan is the new interim vice president officially as of July the 1st, and we welcome him to that position as the University Advancement Vice Chair. I'd also like to thank Richard Huff for joining our board as the representative of the Faculty Senate. Thank you. Today, we're going to, in the spirit of the Florida law that takes effect on October the 1st, we're going to allow public input into this meeting. I would like to tell you that you must register. The cards are in the back of the room on a table. You need to fill out the card, and you need to give it to Becky Lunsford. Becky, can you raise your hand so everybody can see where you are to turn in their card? So please, if you do intend to speak today, get the card and register. I'd now like to call on our provost, Dr. Martha Saunders, to give the president's.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to present the President's report on her behalf. A little later today, Janice Gilley will give an update on federal and state news. We have some good news again, and that UWF has been selected as a Best Southeastern College by the Princeton Review for the 11th consecutive year, based on results from the company's 2014 Best Colleges Survey. UWF was one of 138 institutions receiving the Best in Southeast designation. The Princeton Review surveys students at selected institutions on several factors, ranging from the accessibility of professors to the number of hours they spend studying outside the classroom to the quality of the food on the campus. So I think on balance that's a very good rating. Our housing as of September 9th, we're at 95% occupancy with 1,935 students in beds. Our Welcome Week activities were wonderful. We dubbed that Argo Arrival. They were all very well attended. We had a convocation with 1,200 attendees. Late night at the Target, 400 attendees. Wet and Wild, 450. Beach Bash, 700. Ice Cream Social, 680 attendees. Cultural Explosion, Rock Out the Red Zone, and Argo Palooza with 800 in attendance. So we've gotten off to a rollicking start. I want to welcome Dr. Kim LaDuff, and Kim, if you will stand. Dr. LaDuff is our new Associate Vice President for Equity, Diversity, and International Affairs. In this position, Dr. Duff will have overarching responsibility for promoting and fostering a diverse and inclusive excellence throughout all aspects of the university community. Prior to her arrival, she served as the acting School of Mass Communication and Journalism at the University of Southern Mississippi, where she chaired a committee responsible for creating the diversity plan for that institution. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Duff. We have some new interim deans. We have Dr. Tim O'Keefe, interim dean of the College of Business. Tim, Dr. Stacy Winery, interim dean of the College of Professional Studies, and Dr. Mike Huggins, interim dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. And I know they will serve us well as we go through a restructuring process for the academic division. The UWF Foundation has welcomed new board members and new officers. The new members are Gail Dorsey, Kim McQueen, and Cheryl Wood. The new officers are C. Ray Jones, President, John Hutchison, Vice President, Richard Peterson, Secretary, and Wayne Williams, Treasurer. We want to congratulate the new members of the foundation. UWF's Executive Mentor Program has welcomed its second class of students and mentors. This was a very successful program last year. It matches students with business leaders in the community, and we have expanded the numbers from 30 students to 50 this year. The university is going to participate in National Learning Initiative. We've been selected to participate with NASPA, LEAD Initiative, a national effort centered on developing students' civic engagement. UWF is one of 70 colleges and universities to receive this designation and demonstrating an ongoing commitment to community engagement. Our students and faculty continue to do us proud. Our public relations students, 10 public relations students were recently honored an award of distinction from the Florida Public Relations Association for their Friends of the West Florida Public Library campaign. This is the 9th state award UWF public relations students have won in the past 11 years. 2 UWF student teams were recently selected for the first and second place prizes for the Myron Zucker Undergraduate Student Design Contest, a prestigious international competition. The annual contest is sponsored by the Industry Application Society, a special interest society within the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer. One of these students was the lead designer on the Haas Center app you will see later this morning. Dr. Muhammad Rashid was recently awarded the 2013 Outstanding Achievement Award from the Industry Application Society, adding to the continued success of the UWF Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Our students in Health Occupation Students of America, which is a national organization endorsed by the U.S. Department of Education, placed in the top 10 in their National Leadership Conference in June. 8 students were awarded scholarships through the UWF Military and Veterans Resource Center. And this resource center is for military independence of active and retired military. The scholarships are awarded to qualified applicants who demonstrate leadership capability and commitment to service and are made possible by Brigadier General and Mrs. Michael Ferguson Scholarship Endowment, the Buzz and LaRue Ambersley Memorial Scholarship, and the Navy Federal Credit Union Scholarship. 2 separate groups of UWF students and their faculty advisors traveled abroad to Tokyo, Japan, and Salamanca, Spain, to engage in a cultural and educational exchange. In addition to attending language classes, activities included touring the cities, dance lessons, museum visits, and cooking classes. The programs were organized by the UWF Japan Center and the Jikei Group of Colleges in Tokyo, Japan, and the UWF Department of English and World Languages. 10 students spent 2 weeks in Scotland from June 16th through June 29th They were housed and fed at the University of the West of Scotland, not to be confused with the West of Florida, housed and fed from UWF and Washburn University. The purpose of the program was to study cross-national crime and justice policies and issues, compare structures and functions of the criminal justice institutions in the UK and the US, and to develop a better understanding of the cross-cultural significance of ethnicity, age, and gender. Research funds and projects continue to be active. Year to date, we have submitted 29 proposals for $20,448,000 and received 21 awards for $12,046,000. We have accumulated more than $16.5 million to date in gifts, pledges, and planned gifts since January the 1st. Recently received a $100,000 gift commitment from a local business. Received a generous long-term pledge and planned gift of more than $350,000 from a UWF friend. First time in history, we received 54.9% in faculty and staff participation. The president presided over a very successful breakfast with the president recently at the Greater Little Rock Baptist Church. This is one of a series of ongoing breakfasts that she is taking to the community, as well as inviting the community to this campus on frequent occasions. September 27th will be the next breakfast with the president, and it will be on campus in the SSE building. And the October breakfast with the president will be at the Fort Walton Beach campus. We've started a new annual fund initiative entitled Argo Roll Call Challenge. And this is an annual fund challenge among academic departments to increase alumni giving participation throughout the fiscal year. And I am told that Dean Huggins will be distraught if the College of Arts and Science doesn't win. The State of the University Address and campus-wide barbecue, please join us. September 26th at 10 a.m. in the Commons Auditorium for the barbecue to follow on the grounds in front of Building 12. And with that, Mr. Chair, I conclude the report.
Thank you, Martha. I'd now like to call on Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Kevin Bailey. This guy's got the best job on campus. He's got 12,000 BFFs. He's a man. So, Dr. Bailey.
Thank you for those kind remarks, Chair Bear. We have three recognitions to share with the board this morning. For the first two, I'd like to call on Dave Scott, our athletic director, to come forward to the podium, please.
Good morning. It's an honor I stand again before you this morning. I think in my past 5 years I've been able to do this every year, which is a tremendous accomplishment for our department and our university. It's a credit to our student athletes, our coaches and staff that I can stand before you today and present to you not only one all-sports trophy, but two for both the men's and women's divisions of our conference. These trophies sort of measure the success that we've had over the year. This past year we won 7 conference championships. We had 5 teams compete at national championships, and women's soccer won a national championship. And we sort of are blessed by that success, but we sort of get spoiled that every year I can stand before you and say that we've had that kind of a success. There's a lot of institutions in the country and in our conference that can't say that. I won't mention one that a good friend of ours went to West Georgia. I'm sure he's looking to achieve that same kind of success. But today, we had a great year last year. Student athletes worked hard, and you're going to hear from one of those shortly. We had a 15th nationally of all institutions across the country. We finished, and it's just a measure of an overall successful athletic program with some great student athletes that represent the University of West Florida. I'm very proud to present this today. So if I could present the chairman and provost and vice president of student affairs, we're going to bring the trophies up and present those to you right now. Secondly, I'd like to bring up Coach Racine, our men's and women's tennis coach. We have the Commissioner's Trophy that represents the best male and female student athlete in our conference from all the schools that are represented and all the student athletes in our conference. It's recognized for community service, for athletic excellence, and for academic excellence. So, Coach Racine, if you come up.
Thank you. I have to put on my glasses here. Age is catching up with me. I would like to introduce one of our top players to play at UWF and the winner of this year's Commissioner's Trophy, Kevin Ducros. Kevin first came to UWF 5 years ago as a freshman. He's an international student from France. Kevin was one of the very highly ranked player in his age in France, and he was a highly recruited student athlete by many top Division I schools. I know a couple SEC schools were after him, so really a good player for us, and at this level, Division II level, one of the best in the nation. We're very unique in this country. It is the only country in the world where students can come and pursue athletics at a very high level as well as get their college education. So that's why you'll see a lot of top talent from really everywhere in the world flocking here to, especially in tennis, to play college tennis. It's a chance where they can really develop their game and also work on their education at the same time. Kevin, as a freshman, was a great player. He came in, he quickly rose to the top of our lineup. As a freshman and a sophomore, he was our #1 player both of those years. At the start of his sophomore year, Kevin had an unfortunate knee injury, tore his ACL, his MCL, his meniscus. Really, his whole knee was gone. Doctors didn't think he would ever play tennis again. And this is kind of where I think Kevin came into his own as one of our top players and top leaders. That year he worked really hard on his rehab, and really the first time he had to step back and take on a supporting role, and I think that really helped him and he became the leader of our team at that point. His junior year he came back very strong and was again our #1 player. Led us to the finals of the NCAA National Tournament, where we lost a heartbreak in the finals. His senior year was no different. He again played #1 on our team, and we finished #3. This was last season in the NCAA National Polls at the end of the year. So we lost in the semifinals in a very, once again, a very hard-fought battle. This year, we're very fortunate. Kevin is in graduate school. He's pursuing his MBA here at UWF. He's an excellent student. He's not only achieved great things on the court, but in the classroom and also in the community. He's donated a lot of his time. He's always there to help out. We try and do a lot of things in the community, in the tennis community, and Kevin has always been one to be heavily involved in that. So he's given back to the community as well. This year we have him as our assistant coach. We're very fortunate to have him on the coaching staff. I can see already this fall the team is responding well to his leadership. We've got a great group of guys, and Kevin's really very motivated and pouring his heart into the team. Our program's been fortunate to travel around the U.S., play at a very high level, play a lot of the top schools, and we've competed and represented UWF everywhere, and I can say that Kevin's been a great representative for UWF, what an Argo should be and what an Argo stands for. So I want to introduce Kevin Ducros.
Good morning. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience here at UWF. When I first got here as a freshman, I was 18 years old. I could barely speak English, and I could barely cook as well. And I was pretty much scared of everything. So now I'm 23 years old. I'm doing my MBA. I also have a bachelor degree in business management, and I'm also helping my coach with the men's tennis. I still can cook though. But, well, what's very important here is that I can say that I'm now ready for the after college life because of all the people that helped me and supported me throughout these years. I met incredible friends, teammates, teachers, and coaches throughout these years, and without them, I wouldn't be here today. So also, being a student athlete gave me the opportunity to travel all over the country, playing my favorite sports and getting a great education. So that's pretty great. What else could I be asking for? A job, of course, would be nice, but hopefully that will come soon. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you all for the opportunity that you had given me 5 years ago. And I'm very proud to be an Argonaut. So thank you. Argonaut.
Thank you, Kevin.
Got one more and last recognition, Chairman Bear, and for that, I'd like to call on Trustee and SGA President Chris Hill.
Thank you to the fellow board members, faculty, staff, and audience members. I'd like to give a little quote. It's actually the UWF Honor Code that was developed in 2010. As Argonauts, we act with integrity. We do not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. These are the words in the first honor code ever at the University of West Florida. The Student Government Academic Committee partnered with the Division of Academic Affairs to come up with this university honor code, and that was quite a tenure when they were doing that code. The purpose of the honor code is to deter academic dishonesty and hold students, faculty, and staff to a higher standard in the world of higher education as Argonauts. Last week, we just completed the Academic Integrity Week, where any student can sign the Academic Integrity banner that's being displayed in the Commons Great Hall. To wrap up, last week, we showed the movie The Word starring Bradley Cooper. I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of those commercials with him on it. We partnered with CAB and the Academic Honors Council to get this done. We also gave out to students the notebook with the honor code attached to it. It is open to any student to receive. And we also have koozies for those lovely Buffalo Rock products on campus. Over this summer, the Academic Integrity Board was framed and signed by almost every freshman orientation student. I'm not sure exactly how many students signed it because I would need a magnifying glass to actually count them. But behind you is actually the board with the freshmen that have signed it. And in the middle it says, as Argonauts, we act with integrity, the UWF Honor Code. One of the newest developments in this process is finding a location for the board. Thankfully, Matt Marshall and Mrs. Zell are so welcoming to the student government and the integrity board that we're actually developing an integrity hall. It's located right outside of the knowledge chamber, and at the bottom of this it says class of 2017. And the hope is in 3 years we'll have it all the way up to the class of 2020. So when the class of 2017 graduates, they're going to be the first one to leave with the board in their honor. I think it's quite an accomplishment, and I'm really excited the direction that Academic Integrity Week has gone. With that, thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoy the board.
Thank you, Chris. I'll tell you, I've had an opportunity to attend a number of events where Trustee Hill has spoken to the student body and to others in the audience, and I can tell you he raises the bar and the standards for this board. So thank you for the great job you're doing. You've all been given the opportunity to see and read the minutes from the June 11th Board of Trustee meeting, the June 11th Board's Appreciation Dinner, the June 12th Joint Strategic Planning Retreat, as well as the July 29th New Trustee Orientation. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes?
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
like sign. Thank you. Next are our committee reports. I'd like to call on Bob Jones for the Academic Affairs Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Academics Affairs Committee met on August the 29th, and the committee is recommending to the board the following two items for approval a little bit later in this meeting. The first is tenure as a condition of employment for Dr. Kim LaDuff, recently selected through a national search to serve as the UWF Chief Diversity Officer and Associate Vice Provost for Equity, Diversity, and International Affairs. The second recommendation is to amend the University of West Florida's Regulation 3.001 admission standards for the first time in college student applicants, and appeal Regulation 3.005 appeal of denial admission academic. We also had 4 informational items discussed in the meeting. The first, Dr. Saunders gave us a academic affairs update. Dr. Gaiman reported on the new and improved enrollment affairs, and it was a very impressive report, and I want to commend her for her work so far. She's only been with us 30 days, and I think I made the comment that I can't wait to see the next 30 days. Dr. Saunders and Dr. Northrup gave us an update on the Innovation Institute, and Dr. Northrup presented an update on market tuition rates. And this concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call on Garrett Walton to present the Audit and Operations Committee.
Thank you, Chair Bear. The Audit and Operations Committee met on August 29th. We are recommending one item for action today, and that's the acceptance of the P-Card quarterly report for the fourth quarter of 2013. We had a couple of information items that were reported and discussed. One was presented by Betsy Bowers, an update on the internal auditing activities here at the university, and the other was a good report by Susan Stevenson on the current year's UWF efficiencies report. That concludes my report.
Thank you. I'd now like to call on the Student Affairs Committee, Chair Jay Patel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are recommending one item for approval by the full board today. We are proposing a schedule of student conduct fines. A portion of the fines collected will be used to offset the cost of web-based drug and alcohol education modules, and another portion will be used in the development of preventative programming from the Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities. The prohibited use of alcohol, first violation, will be $25. Prohibited use of alcohol, second and subsequent violations will be $50. The prohibited use of drugs, first violation will be $50, and the prohibited use of drugs, second and subsequent violation will be $100. We also discussed 3 informational items. First one was the Title IX policy regarding the framework of investigating alleged misconducts. The second was the Student Affairs Division strategic plan was provided by Dr. Sarah Lysick. And third, the first time in college retention efforts for the 2013 and 14 was also presented by Patrice Mora. Mr. Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you. Lord O'Sullivan, could you present the Finance and Facilities Committee report, please?
We have 2 action items for approval by the board today. The first is to recommend approval of UWF Regulation 4.008, tuition rates, fees, fines, and penalties. Our second is to recommend approval to establish market tuition rates in accordance with Florida Statutes 1009.24, 15A3, and Board of Governors Regulation 7.001, 15 for 4 or online degree programs as follows. The Masters of Accountancy, Masters of Education Educational Leadership, Masters of Education Curriculum and Instruction Reading Endorsement Cognate, and the Doctorate of Education Curriculum and Instruction Curriculum Studies. The regulation requires Board of Trustees approval, followed by Board of Governors approval at the November 2013 Board of Governors meeting. If approved, the market tuition rates for these programs could become effective fall 2014. We also had one information item. Dr. Barnett provided the Finance and Facilities Committee with a Business Enterprises, Inc. update on the East Campus Argonaut Village project, University Park project, and the electric vehicle pilot program. This concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Trustee O'Sullivan. I'll now give the Executive Committee report. We had 5 action items. The Board of Trustees spokesperson policy. This policy designates the chair as the official spokesperson for the Board of Trustees. However, it does not prohibit other trustees from speaking to the media. The Board of Trustees policy on accepting public comment. This policy outlines our practice of taking public comment at our board meetings. Thirdly, the presidential goals. President Benz presented her goals. Fourthly, $600 bonus distribution plan. This plan was required by the Board of Governors and outlines how UWF will designate legislative appropriated $600 bonuses to 35% of eligible employees. And last, posting of Board of Trustee email addresses to the Board of Trustee website. We discussed if we should post individual email addresses to our website. We believe it's best practice to maintain our current method. We also had 2 informational items. Dr. Kelly presented the capital campaign progress and gave us an update on that progress towards our 50th anniversary capital campaign. Student life, we received a presentation from Dave Scott on UWF athletics and adding football. That concludes that report. Now let's move to our agenda. I'm told that we have no public comment today, so we'll move on beyond that. We now are up to our consent agenda items for approval. There's 7 items on our consent agenda today. All were fully discussed during the committee meetings, and all are the recommendations of the committees which reflect the proposed actions provided with the agenda backup. Does anyone wish to pull any item from the consent agenda for further discussion? All right, I would like to pull item G.C. from that agenda, please.
Chairman Bear, I'd like to pull item F.
Item which?
F.
F? Are there any others? All right, may I have a motion from the board that the board approve and adopt the recommendations of the Finance and Facilities Committee, Audit and Operations, Student Affairs, Academic Affairs, and Executive Committees made during their meetings with respect to the matters set forth on the consent agenda with the exceptions of G, C, and also item F.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Yes, sir. Item F, discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The market tuition rates, I just want to get a clearer understanding of what exactly that means as it relates to tuition rates going up or going down. It appears that tuition rates could go up or down depending on the market, but have there been studies to show what are the trends for the market tuition rates? Do they trend upward or do they trend downward as far as the tuition rates?
I'm not sure I can report on all of the trends, but I know that there is movement in both directions. And most noteworthy, most recently, Georgia Tech just mounted an online program at, bargain basement prices, and so employed the market rate to really undercut the competition. So this does give us an opportunity to be at the table and to play in that game. So it could go either way. Oh, Pam's here. Thank you.
Dr. Northrup.
Market rate tuition, typically in the state of Florida, there are 50 approved market rate programs at institutions all over the state. And the process begins with institutions looking at their existing graduate programs. And the caveat is that the programs have to be fully online and at the graduate level. As an institution, we then look at comparable programs within the state university system, as well as peer and aspirant institutions, and then kind of as a third tier, other places that have online programs that are like these, to come up with a range of potential prices that would be reflected in these programs. Fortunately, we were given the authority a few years ago to look at these types of programs to establish a rate that is comparable with what the market would bear in the graduate space. So what we're recommending at this point that we would like to then take to the Board of Governors is up to $500 per credit hour, and then throughout the year we'll continue to study the market in terms of these program areas, and we'll come back in, I think, the June meeting when tuition and fees would be set, and would say, okay, and this is the rate we would choose. And as Dr. Saunders mentioned, market rate does give us the flexibility to go down if we choose to move in that direction, such as what Georgia Tech has done in a phenomenal graduate program. Who knows if that'll all go well or not. But the likelihood is it might go up a little bit, but not significantly.
So this merely sets in motion the ability that we can go into this decision-making process of setting different rates. We're taking no action to do that, and that will come back before the board next year if this is approved by the Board of Governors.
I'm going to turn to Susan Stevenson. That's correct. Is that right?
That's correct. We asked for a range in our proposal to the Board of Governors. They're giving us the authority. We then watch the market, determine our rate, come back before the board. Okay. Also, once it's established, it cannot increase more than 15% per year by statute. So once we establish that rate, we have that from keeping it. We're not allowed to just skyrocket or something.
Right.
Yeah. But several market rate proposals also do go down.
But this impacts undergrad as well, correct?
No, it does not.
This is graduate online.
This is just the very specific 4 programs that we're moving forward. So it doesn't impact regular graduate tuition in any way. It's just those 4 programs. It just gives us flexibility there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dr. Northrup, to clarify, by definition, this is downward movement on out-of-state, which could be attractive in attracting out-of-state online students. So that should give you an edge in attracting those students.
It very well could. We do have in place also for online programs, all online programs across the board, there is a waiver that students can get for a portion of their out-of-state fees. That has, I think it's been in place probably 6 or 7 years. And so we do get a little bit of an edge there, but it will allow us to go, I think, more head-to-head with maybe other southeastern, places in the United States.
I move approval.
Are there any other, if you don't mind, is there any other discussion from the board on this issue? Reverend Mayor, does that
Thank
answer
you.
your question?
Yes, sir, thanks.
Now I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. My reference to GC is the presidential goals for 2013-14. Following the BEI board meeting recently, it appeared that there is no possible way for President Benz to break ground on the Argonaut Village by this summer, and certainly no opportunity to occupy it by next fall. And for that reason, I'd like to pull that one item from her goals and approve the rest of her goals. Is there any discussion? Any questions about that? And if I could have a motion to approve President Ben's goals as amended for the 2013-14 year.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Before we move to the informational items, I'd like to take a 10-minute break.